Today I do something that I don't pretty much ever do on this channel, and I interview somebody from the toy world. His name is Joe Veteri, and if you can't tell from the thumbnail, he's got a pretty interesting story. He went from lawyer to action figure. He's a collectibles expert, show promoter, he's a consultant for Heritage Actions, and he's just really interesting, and he's a ton of fun to listen to. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this as we talk about New Jersey Toy Con, Mythic Legions, the hobby in general, collectibles as an investment. You don't want to miss it. Stick around, it's coming right now. What's going on, everybody? My name is Matt, sometimes called Big Nerdy. We are the NWO, the Nerd World Order, and this is Without further ado, let's head to my interview. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Joe. Let's start at the beginning. What got you into toys? What got you into collecting toys?
That's a very good question. Start from the beginning. Let's see. I would think I was 6 years old. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. 1977, of course, comes. I was born in 1972. Star Wars comes, and it's forever, I guess, changed my life. I started collecting, being a collector really of action figures at the age of 6 in 1978 when the figures came out. Didn't realize I was what a collector was, and nobody collected action figures back then. But as time went by and I went to law school, I actually realized there was a small shop very close to where I was living in Delaware, and I realized that these collectibles, and eBay just started, so it was like 96, there was a real market for this. There was other people out there that loved that stuff as much as I did, and to see that, of course, everything in our business is nostalgia driven. It just got me sucked back into collecting action figures and going down that whole road. From 2009 to present, I've now started other shows, purchased other shows, and turned it into a whole business. So much to the point where I've retired this year, starting January 1st from law. And I just run all these conventions. I consult for heritage auctions, and I buy and sell higher end collectibles.
So basically you were a lawyer, and you somehow managed to take being a lawyer and replace that with toys.
Pretty much in a nutshell, yes. Day in and day out of toys, collectibles, pop culture. I love it. It's much better than representing clients in a legal capacity, I can tell you that.
Next, Joe and I spent a bunch of time talking about New Jersey Toy Con and just cons in general. And he had some really different philosophies on how they should run and what's important. And I think you guys will find it really interesting.
I didn't want Toy Con just to be another show with tables and granted, it's 170 tables, close to 100 dealers of anything pop culture you could possibly dream of is there. And that's awesome. Always the vision to me for that show was having other activities that people could do, like classic arcade games. And before I had Microsoft come in and do, video game consoles that we would stream and other shows that we compete against each other. We had slot car racing, die-cast racing, indoor RC racing, mini racing, model building, customizing contests. Like I could go on. And that's what we did at Parsippany. So unfortunately, because of COVID, and that promotes social togetherness and not distancing, right? I had to cut that out. So I'm looking forward to bringing that back because I want people to go into their pocket once. So like, listen, you're spending $15, whatever, to get into a show. I wanted to provide even more value so that someone could pay $15, not go in their pocket again, and then do all these fun activities, these interactive activities, and then also shop. So that's my goal. And I see it's growing. Like we're going to grow out of that space real soon.
Joe also stressed that the activities at his shows have to have one thing in common. They need to be interactive.
Making sure that whatever activities are there are very interactive. So if it's Beyblade tournament, kids active, challenging each other like that, or virtual reality. I've spoken to a lot of virtual reality firms that could come in and provide all the equipment and provide that experience, but it's going more down the tech space, introducing people to new product, new experiences. I feel like that's how you gain a client base. That's always what's going to be next, keeping it as fresh as possible.
One thing about New Jersey Con that really blows my mind, $15 to get in the door. Have you priced any of the other cons recently, like what the crazy amounts they're charging?
I believe my con is on the lower end.
It is.
Yeah, and I try to keep it like that. Even when I add more the entertainment aspect, which of course costs money. I'm hiring third-party companies to come in to do that. But I keep the cost down because I understand that families, they want a nice form of affordable, safe entertainment for their families, for their friends, to create these memories with and to do these fun things with on the weekend. I try to make my shows like a destination. Like people plan weeks ahead and prepare. And if you're coming with a family of 2 or 3 adults and some kids, 10 and under are free. It could get costly.
Even though it's pretty much implied by how important it is to keep the cost down for the con so that it's cheap for families, I had to ask anyway, hey, what's up with the lack of celebrities? Will you ever have them? And his answer really surprised me. I figured it was just something that was just out of the budget, but it's not. It's more, again, about sucking money out of the room. Listen to Joe.
The reason why I stay away from celebrities is that they suck a lot of money out of the room. It's not the cost, but if people are going there just to spend money on a voice actor or whomever, and it's $50 a signature or $100, and before you walk in the door between a mission and a celebrity, they're into $100-200. They're just less money for my vendors. And as a show promoter, it's always the vendors first.
When I was going through your show, one of the things I noticed, and I talked to these guys a lot about how to shop at cons and how to really just look vendor by vendor, look for something you know the going price of, and if it's a good price, look at everything else. Oh, I'd say 90% of the vendors there were at or below market value. And that is very unlike cons lately. Last few cons I've been, you could literally go on eBay and buy most of this stuff way cheaper, but it was not the case at New Jersey Toy Con. And it kind of all comes together there. If the vendors are making money, all that savings eventually funnels down. So, the whole no celebrity thing really does funnel down to the entire experience. Then, of course, we started talking about the Horsemen. How did you get involved with the Four Horsemen and Mythic Legions? How did that come to be that they drove an RV across the country full of toys?
Well, the good thing about them is that I have a 20-year relationship with them, a friendship.
Okay.
With Corn Boy, and we probably met going to the Wayne show, my monthly show. That was the first show I ever went to too. I wound up purchasing the show several years ago from the original owners. But I believe we met there many, many years ago. And then they're known obviously as being one of the great toy design firms in the country, easily, hands down. And then this IP that they developed, Mythic Legions, came to be. And as soon as I saw the line, I was just blown away. The value that you get, for a 1/6 scale figure at the $35 price point, it can't be matched. And then the community is phenomenal. The customizers are phenomenal, et cetera, et cetera. So what happened was, and they're local. I mean, I'll be honest with you, they're local. They're right in Little Falls. But make a long story short, I said, why don't you come to the show? I knew that they had a rabid fan base. I went to their studio, and what happened was I tried to get an exclusive just for Toy Con, but they don't do really exclusive. They do an early release of figures. Mm-hmm. So I wound up stopping by their studio. We wound up talking about potentially me working with them to designing my own figure. And make a long story short, we wound up, kit bashing with some of their parts of their figures because those figures are modular. And we wound up, creating a figure that turned into a figure that was named after me, Lord Veteri. So that's how it came to be. And then it's just, I didn't even realize it would take on a life of its own.
So Lord Veteri, now I got to find out. So is this a publicly available figure, or is this just a custom?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. The number of people that it's funny. They walk up to me and oh my God, you're Lord Veteri, and they want me to autograph their figure, and it's awesome. I love working with them and supporting them. And now Veteri Productions, along with a partner, Jeremy Gerard, are going to be doing LegionsCon simultaneously within ToyCon in November. That was just announced on LegionsShop.com. That's my website for Legions, everything Mythic Legions. And it's going to have its own 3,000 square feet of space within the next ToyCon. So we're looking to, and it's going to be also an art. It's going to kind of not just be Mythic Legions, but it's going to be it's really going to support the art toy movement. Yeah. The small toy manufacturers that are coming out with these great new products, mostly based on the 3D printed type stuff, the resin stuff, which is becoming so popular. Yeah. But that's where it's going. I'm really excited about working with them. If you watch my vlog at New Jersey Toy Con, you would have saw just how crazy that line was at the convention and what my initial reaction was oh wow, people really like these Mythic Legions.
hear me and Joe talk a little bit about that and just my kind of blown awayness about their rabid fan base, and he gives some other interesting and really cool different facts about just how like insanely dedicated and loyal their fan base is. So I got to the door and I talked to you and you said, oh, if you love the art of toys, you need to see these. And I was convinced there. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to go buy something. Didn't happen. Not with that line. That was insanity.
Right. The line for them was literally, I had to create the line down the hall and outside the building. They're becoming action figure like royalty. Yeah. Those guys. It's unbelievable, their draw. Looking at their sales and knowing how much they've grown over several years, the line itself and the fan base, I think there's a lot in store. I think there's a lot of great expansion for the IP into other mediums. I know that they're working with a company to do a video game. And there's a crowdfunding that started for that already. A lot of other ideas, like a RPG game, like a D&D type scenario, trading cards maybe. There's a lot, I think, that they could do with it.
Oh, there's just so much. I mean, they are in a really, really cool spot. I mean, they're really filling a hole that's there for the collectors who just want quality stuff.
Yeah, and the price point, I mean, if you could get, a Marvel Legend, what's a Marvel Legend? $20, 25, 30 bucks.
25 now retail.
Right, for an extra $10, and you get a figure that's the quality, the engineering behind it, the paint apps are just, eons ahead of everything else out there. The price point is not bad. And once you hold one in your hand, that's it. It's game over. It's, you're done. To me, it's like everything that's culminated from all of their experiences over the last 30 years in the business has come into what I view as the perfect product. It's not every day that I get to talk to a collectibles expert, so I had to pick his brain a bit. And we did some talking about cards, comics, a little bit of everything. Do you see any similarities for what we can expect to see in toys based on the way things have progressed in trading cards? I don't know. Over the last couple of years, the trading card hobby as a whole has just exploded. I think even more so in terms of investable than even the toys. And the trading card expo show that I did, my first one was maybe almost 70 tables. And then the one I did 2 weeks prior to ToyCon, the one that you were at, was the same size as ToyCon. Yeah, I mean, that's how big it got and how quick it got, and it was very well attended. There's always ebbs and flows. The market's volatile a lot with cards, but it's a very exciting hobby. Opening the sealed product, investing in the sealed product, and then the grading whole thing. I won't bore your audience with it, but the grading got so crazy with PSA that they literally stopped taking submissions for like 5 months. And the market's going through an ebbs and flow right now, as PSA and other grading services start to ramp up, hiring more people, etc. But it's a very exciting, hobby.
The way that the grading companies have been able to make things uniform has been fantastic. And unfortunately, it doesn't really happen. Like, we have grading in toys, but there's just not a huge market for it. You don't see much of it.
Yeah. Comic books are another little specialty of mine. I'm an advisor to the Price Guide book by Overstreet, but I love the comic book space. Comic books have exploded in value again. If you were to ask me what's the safest, I think, investable pop culture collectible, it's key comic books from the silver, bronze, and copper age, hands down. They receive 5-10% growth a year. And now they're just, a $5,000 book is now 20 in the last year. It's been crazy. But to me, you're not just investing in the comic book, you're investing in that character. Yeah. Is Iron Man, I would say this, is Spider-Man going away? Not in our lifetime, right? Iron Man, Wolverine and the rest of them, they're going to long outlive us. Yeah. And be important and relevant within pop culture. They're not just America's pop culture, it's a global pop culture. All right, so November 13th and 14th is the next big Toy Con, and it's being held with LegionsCon. So tell us a little bit about what to expect, when to get there, anything like that. Get there early. Really early. Get there early. Come enjoy the entire day with us. Bring your friends. I mean, that's the whole point too. It's about the experience. And one main reason why I got into this again was creating these fun experiences for people to enjoy, what they love with the people that they love. And that's been, again, it's been so rewarding. The ROI is not just money, it's happiness as well. If it was the ROI, I would continue to do law, right?
Yeah. Well, tickets are not available online. You can only get them at the door. So folks, seriously, when I got there an hour before the early bird for the last show, the line was already wrapped around the building. So I would highly suggest, if you're not local, getting a hotel and getting there early, 6 o'clock.
Yep.
What was the earliest you saw people get there this time?
The first people online, when I got there at 6 in the morning, and there were people there that got there at like 3:30 in the morning.
Holy crap.
Yeah. But these are dedicated fans. A lot of the fans are there not just to get in early to have first crack at whatever vintage or whatever items they collect, but to meet with the Four Horsemen and to be online first, and to get in first. I mean, that's just their thing. And then adding the LegionsCon component to it is a whole other thing. Like, people are already flying in from Sweden, California. Once I made the announcement on legionsshop.com, and various Facebook groups, it's gone like, we have the biggest and best artists and customizers from all over the country, the world, flying in already. And I think it's going to add a whole new dynamic.
Joe was a blast to talk to. I did record a full version of this interview, which is about a full hour long versus this 15-minute cut down version. I put a link to that uncut video down in the description below. Check it out if you have time. It's great if you're like driving somewhere and need something to listen to. But there's a ton of stuff that's in there that I would love to listen to if I wasn't doing the interview. If you are on the East Coast, November, you need to be at NJ/LegionCon. It's going to be a madhouse. I will be there. I cannot wait. I think it's going to be awesome. If you have any questions for Joe, or if you are a vendor and you're watching this video and you want to know more about getting a table and getting involved, and you heard how important and how well he takes care of his vendors, again, link in the description to Joe's website, his email address if you want to contact him. You can check out more information on VeteriProductions.com. And you can also follow their Instagram that's linked below for all sorts of information about future shows. Remember, you have to get old, but you don't have to grow up. Just be cool, stay nerdy.